Hello, everyone. I'm Omkar. I'm the founder CEO of Miracle.io Germany. This is our third episode of our student-centric education pioneered by women leaders podcast, and it gives me great pleasure to have Miss Rachana Kamath today on our show.
Hi.
And Miss Rachana Kamath, I wanted to give you a short introduction about Miss Rachana Kamath and her background, and then I'll be handing it over to her as well. But Ms. Kamath carries a strong background in learning and education of about 30 plus years across different schools and different sort of sectors as well. So Ms. Kamath has a focus on value driven education. I think that's something that is very, very important in the world of today. And Ms. Kamath has sort of underlined that as a part of her sort of leadership and education style. So we are very, very keen and looking forward to hearing more about value-driven education as a part of today's discussion, among many other things. Ms. Kamath today is the principal of New Horizons Scholar School in Navi Mumbai. And before that, she's been the principal at Sanjeevani International, Seva Southern Society School, Bal Bharati School as well, and quite a few other schools across her long and illustrious career as well. So, Ms. Kamath, it's a pleasure to have you on the call today, and I hand it over to you to tell us a bit about your story about the past years that you have spent in education, and what is it that makes your education style and your leadership style unique. So, I'd love to hear a bit about that from your side.
Good evening to you, Omkar. Thanks for inviting me to share my experience. Yeah, it's been a long journey now. When you told me, I really could realize that. Otherwise, I never realized it. So, yeah, actually, I started from the grassroots level of being a pre-primary teacher, and I came into this industry because of love for children. Nobody pushed me. Otherwise, my entire clan, kitten cans, they are all in bankers, and they are all are in hoteliers. But I'm the only one, you can say, odd person out who loved children, and that's how I landed up here. And it's basically like when I started working with children as a teacher, it was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed the most because it was like the unconditional love that they give you. You cannot compare it with to anything on this earth, neither this universe, because they don't expect anything out of you and they give you the maximum. So I would give the entire credit to the students, to the children who have shaped my career, my future, and me as a person. I wouldn't be what I am today without my students and my children, I must say. Because when I started, I was very young, maybe 18 years old as a pre primary teacher. And from there, the journey began. The challenges that I started facing, I had a blind child in my class. I had a child who had speech problem. I had children from spastic, society. So, and those days we never had a counseling team or a psychological department where we can, really send these children. We never knew those terminologies also, what is it called? But what we knew was we have to work with these children and get them in par with others. So we strived hard as teachers, as educators, and did all the permutation combination possible to see these children are successful in life. So when people see the movie Black, I can illustrate to it, you know, because it really gives me that deep sense of achievement. Because I had one child who was a blind child, and his name was Mrugank Vaidya. He was such a wonderful child, such a beautiful child, but he could only learn through hearing, And those challenges, what we faced, thanks to all our mentors who have given the platform to us, and we could, really reach to the level by achieving all these milestones and be good educators in life and setting up example for others as well. We never chose the easy path. Yes, we do had challenges personally, professionally also, but we overcome those because we used to feel ki, yes, I am needed over here. This child needs me, and I cannot go back. I want this child to be successful in life. And that's how we went on, walking on the path, that journey. And we really didn't realize it's 3 decades.
Indeed, I think when you are doing what you love and you find your true calling, time just flies by. And I think it's a very good example of you finding a purpose and your passion, and finding joy in the work that you do, even though it might be difficult. Like teaching and educating and nurturing children with special needs and special abilities. I'm sure it has its own set of challenges that most people can't even imagine. And like taking that, and at pre-primary levels especially, where they're at such a young formative age, I'm sure that must have been rewarding in many different ways, but also challenging in so many other ways. Maybe one because of the other, right? Like it's rewarding because it's so challenging as well. And it's really inspiring.
The only thing what we knew was, especially I as a person, okay, I cannot give up on this child.
Indeed.
So we never gave up, and we did all the necessary permutation combination possible to see that this child is successful in life.
Right. Indeed. I think it's not a better world if we can't get everyone there, right? And I think it's a
And they
prime,
deserve the most.
yeah, indeed, it's a prime example of this being lived in your day-to-day life. I think that's really inspiring. That's really wonderful. And maybe if you can, you mentioned about Mrigank, one of your
Yeah,
students who
yeah,
you remember. I'm
yes.
sure he was with you maybe some
When I
years
was a
ago.
KG
You
class
remember.
student, he was my KG class student.
Right. So this was at least 10 years ago or
91, 91.
91. Wow. 91 was when I was born. So that's 31 years ago now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible that you still remember him after so many
Yes.
um,
I
different.
remember all my students. It's just that I'm not there on any social media site by
Right.
choice, because it takes in a lot of time to be connected, and I have my students to connect to who are live with me. So that
Right.
was a choice that I did. That's the reason I'm not there on any social media. Otherwise, I think my students would surely be hunting for me and looking for me wherever possible. But it was a
Right.
beautiful journey, and the challenges what we face, that's how we see to it ki now at least we don't give it to our teachers. So wherever I work now, I see to it that my teachers are given that kind of what you say, the incentive, you can say, or maybe we help them out so that they come out with flying colors in their deliverables you know
Hmm.
so when I was a teacher, like I had way back, like I had to take both my children, and my husband used to carry them and leave them at babysitting, and we used to rush to work and all those things. So now wherever I work, I see to it that I have a creche for my own teachers, a nanny is appointed over there, so they're keeping their own children there, so when they're working with me, they're absolutely relaxed.
Right. I think
So
that's
that,
wonderful. And
yeah, that makes a lot of difference, because mother, at the back of her mind, if a child is at home and she's leaving the child somewhere else, so she's quite anxious. So when I say I love children, so it is obviously my teachers also, right? So that's how this platform is given to them. Ki you work for me the best, and I give you the best. So we take care of those children also. So when they are unwell and all, the teachers do go down during the break and take care of their children. If there are young mothers who want to feed their baby, they go down and feed their baby and come back. So they love that kind of a connect that I form with them, and we work as a team and as a family and try to
Mhm.
give the best to the students.
Right. I think this is a wonderful example of not only a workplace or the school, in this case, being student centric, but also team centric.
Yes,
That happiness is what you're optimizing for in
yes,
the end. And if a happy school comes from happy teachers, happy
yes,
parents,
yes,
and happy students come from happy
yes,
teachers, and
yes.
successful students come from
Yes,
become successful because they're in a happy school. So I
Yes.
think that that's the ingredient over there, happiness, and I think and support. And I think that's beautiful that you've managed to sort of organize this at the school. It's this is the first time I'm hearing a school having a sort of a creche or a daycare sort of a setup within the school. I think it's a
Yes.
everyone hearing this podcast, I'm sure, I hope that you're taking notes because this is a wonderful
Yeah.
idea.
This was when I was in Lokmanya Tilak. My director, Sheetal Chaturvedi ma'am, she was wonderful, and she really helped me with my vision that I had, and she supported me, and that's how I could have these kind of arrangements for my teachers. So I had so many young teachers working with me and learning so many things. So this gave them that relaxation. Ki, okay, our children are down here, taken care, very safe atmosphere, and we can be there for them whenever needs be. So they gave full heart. They went out of their way to give their best. So that really made a lot of difference.
Right, that's great. And maybe one question that I had, since you mentioned about the story from your first one of your first roles in pre-primary, how do you see education has changed from 1991 to 2023 today?
The skill-based learning, along with the technology, has made a tremendous 90-degree shift in education system. And it's no more the 3 hours of arithmetic, reading, writing, and learning. It's now more of skill-based learning, where the NEP, the new educational policy, also talks about the 4 hours: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. This is what we have to really look at, unlearn and unlearn each day. And that's what we need to tell our students. And the pandemic is the biggest example which has taught us learn and unlearn. And everyone has to have the skill and a backup plan for the aptitude as well. You cannot sit with one, so it has to be job oriented, and so many things. So the education system has taken a 90-degree shift, where we educators have to be continuously on a move, and the traditional method, it's just the virtues and the values have to be remixed, and we have to adapt each day a new technology that comes in forefront.
Right. I think absolutely like what you said, that applying what they learn in the real world is a crucial aspect of education today. And that's what makes them industry ready, job ready, ready for the world, is how I think about it.
Yes.
But at the same
Education
time,
should be for life.
yes, exactly. It's education for life. It's also about inculcating the idea that you're not just a student while you're in school or in college. You're a student for the rest of your life as well.
Yes.
And that's one thing. And the second thing is building it on a bedrock of good core values, human values. I would like to say, like, it does, skills is one thing, mindset is another, and I think education's role is to sort of marry these two very critical concepts: hands-on learning, hands-on education, real life education, with strong ethics and values. And I think that is something that becomes like, this shift is very crucial to be made today, especially. How are the teachers at New Horizon Scholar School? How are they supported to sort of adapt to this sort of a method?
See, Omkar, if you ask me, education was always value based. Okay. Now and the teachers also were always educators and mentors. Okay. It's just in between the trend of tutorials and the classes. They were a little, they derailed the train of values. Most of the teachers became tutors and teachers only, and not educators and mentors. But again, we are after the new education policy, which I would say, after 38 long years of independence, we have got this education policy which the entire world is going gaga about. Okay, and this policy again is based on the same traditional thought of ancient Indian education, with knowledge, wisdom, truth. and experimental learning. So this is what we all need to adapt, and the teachers are also aware about it. It's just that we mentors have to go on motivating them and guiding them ki why is it important. Because I always tell my teachers ki the student might get a 99% mark, but is he a human? Does he have that value and the right attitude to implement the same? Does he have the kind of knowledge that he can give it back to the society? Then I would say yes, we are in our factory we are making inhumans. Otherwise, it's of no use.
Indeed, indeed. And I think giving back, the ability to give back, like the ability to create. There is something called Bloom's taxonomy in
Yes,
learning science, right? And creation is the highest level of learning. And is the student able to reach that level? Essentially, is what the question is. And I'm sure the teachers are also aware of these changing dynamics of their role as teachers in the new world of education, right? I feel like their role has become more of a guide for the students, more of a mentor to the students rather than an information provider, because information is now provided at the
you
touch
get
of a button.
information on the click.
Exactly. And so that's no longer what students need because they have it elsewhere. But what else do they need? They need this guidelines, or let's say guardrails even, where you let them experiment, but at the same time sort of have a framework where they can experiment safely, fail safely. I think that's a crucial part over there as well. That learning by doing and learning by failing is what lets them to succeed long term as well. And what challenges do teachers face today to have this learning by doing method for all their students?
If you ask me, these days teachers are not facing any challenges. Okay, they are not. It's basically you have to be self-driven. Okay, and they are getting all the easy platforms, especially with the technology into the place. It's just that they need to learn the app, they need to master the app. But what is missing is the right attitude. And as I said, the virtues uh, to how what is the final outcome? Where are we leading the students? So now, as you mentioned rightly, the Bloom's taxonomy. Now today, it's not about the Bloom's taxonomy; it is all about DOC, that is the depth of knowledge that the students would have, and how what is the right attitude, how are they presenting it in the society. That is more important. So these are the challenges. The major challenge what the teachers are facing is change,
Right.
and that there is where the resistance is all about.
I think adaptability is a
Yes,
core attribute that I
yes,
think all of us need to have, teachers,
yes,
students, people.
yes,
And
yes,
I think
all of
at the
us.
same time, it's also one of the attributes that often becomes a bottleneck for any kind of innovation or any kind of
Very
transformation as
true.
well.
But
So
still, we all are very hopeful. We are the ones who have never give up on our students, weaker students, especially.
right,
So we go on, motivating our teachers. Yes, you can do it. See, we are also doing it. You can do it. And then we, sometimes collaborate with each other, do with each other. And moreover, I always tell them, it's something like you have to tell me what it is. I don't know. So the moment you do that, they get into the nitty gritties of it. They form a team and they do it. See, because Omkar, it is very important. It's very easy for me as an educationist or as a mentor and a principal to set up rules. But the rules that I set up would never ever be followed unless they don't come from them.
exactly. I mean, I think the shift is that needs to be made is from top-down rules to bottom-up guidelines and best practices from
Yes,
the ground, right? I
yes,
think that's a shift that fundamentally needs to be made, empowering
yes,
teachers to sort of also, again,
yes.
experiment
Very, very
and
important. Very
try
important.
things out, try new things
Yes,
out, and
yes,
again, creating a safe environment for them to try things out as well.
yes, yes,
And like you said, incentivizing them in the best way
yes,
possible. for the
Yes,
same. I think it's a very delicate and complex sort of an ecosystem, right? Teachers,
yes,
students,
yes.
parents, and education leaders for sure.
And
And
it, sorry to interrupt you, it is
please,
basically a consistent job. Consistency matters because any change, any behavioral change or any mental health department change you want, it has to be consistent. Okay,
right,
I tell my teachers ki being a good human being or a virtuous person is a choice that we need to do each day when we get up in the morning. It cannot be key, okay, today, now I've done it for 4 days. Now the fifth day I'm tired. It cannot be that way. And if you teachers, you educators are not going to do it, where is the child going to see? So the child is observing you, they are seeing you. So the kind of change you adapt to, the kind of attitude you would have, the same the child would take in. So if you have 200%, the child will take 100%. But if you are going to have 100%, the child is going to take 50%. So we have to have the maximum motivation, the maximum, positive attitude possible, and ready to change, what you say, attitude, where the students have to see those and adapt along with us. Otherwise, it's not going to be there. And it has to be a consistent effort each day.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think consistency is underrated and motivation is overrated, as they say, right? Like
Yes,
motivation is short lived, consistency is
yes,
long lived by
yes,
definition.
yes,
And I think getting 1% better every day than the previous day is a lot better than trying to do something completely
yeah,
ambitious one day and then getting demotivated about it the next day. So that consistency is a very, very crucial factor on making any sort of a change. Any sort of a change is
yes,
always gradual,
yes,
and to make sure that you're reaching from point A to point B, doing it step by step every day and consistently is crucial. That's lovely. It's a very insightful thought as well. Maybe one question that I wanted to ask you was, where do you see New Horizon Scholar School being in, let's say, beginning of 2024? So 1 year later, what changes do you see consistently being applied this year so that you reach a different goal, or what goal do you wish to reach in 2024?
See, Omkar, if you ask me, after the pandemic, 2 years of online education, okay, the education has happened, we have catered to syllabus, curriculum, the teaching was there, everything was there. But the challenge was, again, bringing back the students physically. And this entire year, we have faced the challenge of settling down the children with their mental abilities. And that had drastically gone down along with the parental society. So that was something like, in Hindi, as we say, "Laut aao," come back. It was coming back to the new normal, and the entire year we face the challenges. Somewhere I could say now, the entire year, when we have catered to those challenges, the kind of mindset the students had, the kind of behavior that they had, and each stakeholder had a different view of looking at that behavior. They had their different opinions, and to get them all along under one roof was tremendously challenging, first thing. And yes, I can say that 75% we have really achieved it, and we still are working on it. So with the new education policy being implemented in 2023, we are planning to, from June onwards, you cannot, and the world also cannot expect a drastic change. It has to be step by step, because first, the as I said, any change to be adapt, teachers, all the stakeholders for that matter, they would not look forward for anything that will have to leave their comfort zone. That is very, very important. And
Mm.
unless I get the support, we educators get the support of all the stakeholders, doing it in full swing and bringing back that change, what actually the national education policy is all about, will take at least 2 to 3 years to
Absolutely.
completely adapt it. So it is going to be phase by phase, bit by bit, and slowly. And then maybe we catch up, that's how it is going to be. So I cannot give you any commitment ki by 2024 we are going to be great achievers, or the best school in the vicinity or something that way. That would be quite foolish of me if I do so also, because it is tremendous pressure on my teachers, my team, and nothing can be done in pressure. Only food can be cooked
Yeah, absolutely.
on
Even
under
only food.
yeah, only food can be cooked in pressure cooker. Human beings are not meant to be working under pressure and
Yeah.
stress. I absolutely believe in a work and a life balance.
Absolutely. I
So
think that's itself that sets you apart and the organization apart from the mindset itself. That understanding the people that are involved in the organization, understanding their challenges, supporting them for their challenges, that itself is like half the battle won, I would say, because then you're taking everything away for them to worry about, so that they can focus on that incremental change that
yes,
they're
yes,
expected to make towards this realization of the NEP. So I think that's a very good answer, I would say, to this question.
it has
And
to be step by step, and whatever you say or anybody says, I am not going to get carried away, because I
yeah.
know I'm what am I going to get into, and what am I expecting out of my team. And the moreover, I'm leading them,
Hmm.
I'm the captain of the ship, so
Right.
I cannot drown it.
Yeah, you cannot, and I don't think you will, because so far your captainship, it seems like you're doing something good, many things, I'm sure, and that's why your team supports you so well, because you support them so well. I think that's
Yes,
in the end the most crucial part
it is the
among
collaboration, very, very
is the
important collaboration.
indeed.
Communication, collaboration, critical thinking, these are the key skills for today. And we all together have to do that. I
Yes,
never dictate terms. It's not about leadership, is not about dictating terms or, laying strict rules, but it is all about taking everyone along and, allowing them also to lead.
absolutely. That's what they call servant leadership, right? Like, you
Yes.
not only expect others to serve their roles or their responsibilities effectively, but you're also serving their needs as well, so that they can serve their responsibilities in the best
Yes.
way possible. So I
Yes.
think it's a lovely thought to end our podcast on. And it's been great, Ms. Rachana, to discuss your journey, your approach towards student-centric education at New Horizons Scholars School, your approach towards building a supportive ecosystem of teachers, educators, which eventually leads towards them being more student centric. I think there are many notes to be taken for all the other listeners and all the other schools around us about what good leadership looks like. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on this topic. It's been a pleasure to have you on the call.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you. God
No,
bless you and your
the
team.
pleasure is all ours. So thank you very much. And hopefully we'll have another episode again, perhaps, where we can dive a bit deeper into some of the episodes. But
Yes.
until then, we will stay tuned on this, and we will come back on this again.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
once again, and
Thanks. God
yeah,
bless.
wishing you all the very best, and the team at New Horizons as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye bye.